I'm 8 years old. I used to love Eddie Chacon. So I used to look forward to Eddie Chacon coming on. My mom used to fight because Eddie Chacon was like, she's the, well, you probably don't know or heard of her, but Eddie Chacon is the goddess. It's one of the divas that brought a lot of the girls out. So I used to think I was Eddie Chacon. I want to be just like Eddie Chacon. So what I used to do, I used to go outside in el balcón. That's what they call it in Puerto Rico. I used to go out in the balcón, wrap my little t-shirt on, and all the boys would be hanging right there, stick my underwear on my butt and shake my butt. My mom used to scream. I used to get my ass kicked, you know, because Eddie Chacon. And then they were like, este como que va a ser maricón, yo no sé. No sé qué yo voy a hacer con este. Esto va a ser fuerte para la familia.
Do you have a coming out story?
Okay.
Like, are you out to your parents, like your family now? So how was it when they first knew? Like, how did that happen?
So when I first came out to my mom, well, actually my aunt told her because she saw me kissing a boy behind my house. So I got called. So I didn't have no. I had to say it. So I ended up telling my mom. She was living in Philadelphia by that time. So I was still in Puerto Rico. When my mom found out, she was kind of upset about it, but it grew on her. So now I'm like her baby, her gay baby.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Julio Manuel. I was born in West Puerto Rico, okay, aka Lady LaBelle, my stage name. I'm one of the old girls that are still alive from North Philadelphia. Because growing up in North Philly, being a gay male wasn't easy, and you know, back then, you couldn't walk North Philly being gay without getting beat up. So I used to have a lot of problems because I used to fight back. I used to fight them boys back down when they had to shut down Fifth and Indiana. All the blocks you couldn't walk like they do now. Like they prance around there now, that you couldn't do that then. But then I used to get in a lot of trouble, so I moved away and I started doing drag as a getaway to getting in trouble. So I started doing this and I stood off the streets. It got me off the streets. It got me from doing a lot of things, getting in trouble. You know, got locked up. I done it all, you know, and this was my getaway. So I just moved away and I am where I am right now, and I went to Lady LaBelle. Oh, Lady LaBelle's different from Julio. Lady LaBelle is like, when I perform, everything that I do has to do with me growing up. You know, songs that I do is stuff that, you know, had to do with me itself. So I take her, you know, when I'm her, I'm happy when I'm Lady LaBelle. You know what I mean? I'm very happy when I'm her. Lady LaBelle started in Puerto Rico. One day we were sitting down around, it was Halloween, and we were going to do a show with my gay mother, Nicole Chacon, and she was like, oh, well, I'm going to do Eddie Chacon. She said she was going to do Eddie Chacon. And I'm like, damn, but I'm black. Where am I going to do? She was like, you can either do Celia Cruz or do Patti LaBelle. And I said, well, you know what? I'm going to do Celia Cruz, but I also want to do Patti LaBelle. And I started doing Patti LaBelle. And it was a hit in Puerto Rico. You know, I was La Reina del Carnaval. I was one of the first ones that walked an actual carnaval. I was Miss Roma Reina Carnaval in Puerto Rico, 1992. You know, so I took that chance on walking, you know, a lot of straight parades and carnavales and everything. And people had to, I guess people learned to respect it through the years. I'm an old queen. So this is a trick I learned in Puerto Rico, you know, to get the wigs. But they don't care. They don't care. They're just everybody to each his own. I'm just continuing to be me. I'm gonna continue to be Latina, and I'm gonna die Latina. I'm gonna die real, and I'm gonna keep doing shows till like the day I can't no more. I will sit out there and do even if I have to come out in a wheelchair and do a show. We should just have a big celebration and celebrate that we're Latinos. That's, you know, and they should be honored and grateful that, you know, you're Latino and you're alive and you're able to walk the streets in Philadelphia.
I grew up in a religious household. Went to church every Sunday. Same with my grandmothers. Went to church all the time, and I was just always, I guess because of that, I never came out and said anything because I probably didn't want to disappoint them or anything. Because I even had girlfriends growing up. You know that whole phase where you gotta like try to find yourself or make others believe that this is who you are, and yeah, that's just what it was.
So you've kissed a girl?
I've kissed a girl, and I liked it, but I like boys more.
My name is Felix A. Perez, and I grew up in the Feltonville / Hunting Park area. I grew up born again Christian, and kids used to call me Casper because I was really friendly. Not because I was particularly pale, but because I was very friendly. I was raised Pentecostal, so tongue-speaking Pentecostal. And at 15 years old, I came out to my best friend at the time. I was always really because other kids didn't kind of connect with me very well, and I was just sort of a loner. But I had connected with a girl in church, and she was related to the pastor of our church. And I told her that I had, quote, homosexual tendencies, end quote. And she said, oh, she got on the phone right away and told her uncle, who was the pastor. And then his wife was also like co-pastor, I guess. And so then we did a half-day fast of praying. And I told my parents in my living room, where I grew up in North Philly. And they said, oh, it's going to be okay, and then it's fine, it's all right, but we're sending you to therapy. I never thought I'd make it here. I remember being 17 and having a really hard time. I remember getting into a bad fight, argument with my mother, and walking into oncoming traffic because I wanted it all to end. I remember feeling ostracized, made to feel like I was a pedophile in church. I was put on discipline in church, which meant that you had to attend every service but couldn't participate. And I was a singer in church. I used to lead worship. I used to be very, very active. And I was put on discipline. I was made to feel ashamed. And so the me at 32, to say to the me of 15, you're gonna make it, and you're not just gonna survive this, you're gonna thrive.
I grew up in a Catholic family. I can say that I was raised pretty much by my grandparents, which they were very devoted to the religion. I did not come out while I was still living in Mexico because of the same issue that I was afraid to be judged for who I was. I didn't come out until I was about to turn 18 years old. I came out to my mother. I was lucky enough to have a mother who understands who I am and accepts me for who I am and loves me for who I am. What else can I say?
Okay.
My name's Key, like a key in the door, but I don't spell it that way because I'm fancy. You know, because like I have a different story, right? From being trans, like I grew up a little girl and I grew up a little tomboy. And I grew up in a house that tried to beat that out of me. And when I transitioned, I was around gay men, and that was like and I was like let into the boys club, but yet also like, but you're different than us because you don't have the same stories that we do. You know, so then I got to this place where I was like trying to like be like other people because that's what I saw that it looked like. This is what I saw what it meant to be gay and Latino or gay and black and gay, and you know, and I just, and being a man and being gay, and I was like, this feels weird, I'm trying so hard. And then I also had to deal with my internalized homophobia. And that like, I wasn't less of a man because I was comfortable with my femininity. And that I wasn't less of a man because I fucked other men. You know, like it was, and that like I wasn't less of a man because my body looked different than other men's. You know, and I think that was really huge for me. And so for me, I know when I first started practicing yoga, I was so broken. I had this horrible breakup. So I was so dependent on this other person. I didn't even have my own shoes when I broke up with this person. Like I just remember that fact. Like I'm moving out, I was like, I don't even have shoes to wear out this house as I pack my boxes. And I didn't want to live like that anymore. When I started practicing yoga, it was this opportunity where I finally had to be in my body, and as a trans person that was really, really intense because I always, you know, there was this narrative that you should be ashamed of your body, you should be ashamed of like your story, you should just like try to blend in like everybody else. And so to be in my body, to be present was so important. And when I did, and that changed my perspective, it literally changed my life in this way that like people are like, oh yeah, I found yoga, but it was like, no, like it like made my spirit stronger. It like made me be able to like be more resilient. It was a very deeply personal thing, and it felt political only because my person was political, because I'm brown and queer and trans. Like there's nothing, like I couldn't even not be political if I wanted to, you know. And so learning to be more comfortable with myself, I learned not to be afraid of other people. There's this idea of being two-spirit that is in a lot of indigenous cultures that I really think is part of my identity as a healer, of like having these two very different experiences, these two different walks of life, and holding them close to one another and using that to like find a path. And I think that, and so that is that, like, you know, the people who do the fucked up things still deserve love right next to the people who like do the great things, you know? And so it's a part of my Latinidad, it's a part of my queerness in a way that, like, you know, other people don't really get, and that's fine. It's okay to be afraid, and it's also not necessary. You know, that everybody looks different, every man looks different, every queer person looks different, every Latino looks different, and that's okay, and that doesn't mean that you're any more or less of anything.
Who are you?
Pues yo me llamo Eric, me pueden llamar Ángel. Yo tengo 19 años. Soy mexicano y vivo en el sur de Filadelfia.
And tell me your coming out story.
Yo salí para mis papás fue difícil porque mis papás de un pueblo donde no aceptan que sus hijos sean homosexuales.
Any words you would want to tell someone that's gay, Mexican, or in the closet and that's Mexican living in Philly? Any words you want to tell them if they saw this?
Lo único que les quiero decir es que no tengan miedo, salgan del closet y díganle a sus papás, explíquenle lo que ellos sienten, Can you start over?
No.
This is horrible.
We'll edit it out.
It's horrible. Kinda got nervous.
It's okay. It's not bad, actually.
Can I say it again?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
what would you tell someone that's not out the closet, Mexican, like un joven?
Pues que traten de salir del closet y que no se queden ahí porque no es bueno, porque después va a ser más difícil que ellos mismos salgan. Y que traten de explicarles a sus papás lo que sienten sobre su sexualidad y que entiendan sus papás, o si no, pues hablen con sus amistades para que les ayuden para salir del closet.
Perfect.
Because I was diagnosed with HIV, within the first 2 years, I was diagnosed, and like I said, I tried doing it on my own for the first half, and then I just couldn't do it. Like mentally, physically, emotionally, I had no stability. That comfort to have somebody there. My name is Gran Varones. I'm 22 years old, and I currently reside in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So I ended up moving back and being with my mom, my parents, my family. They were my support system. They're the one who took care of me. They're the one who made sure I was okay with everything. And I couldn't have that in Florida because I lived on my own. I went to work. I came home by myself. I had friends, but they knew, but they did not understand. And it's just they tried their best to support, but they just couldn't grasp the idea of why I had HIV. When I was first diagnosed, I wanted my parents to be the first to know. My dad, and then my mom. I called my mom. You could tell she had that sense of worry that came upon her, and she just basically she just said, everything's gonna be okay. Just calm down, stop crying. You can't change anything when you're crying, because my emotions are all over the place. Calm down, stop crying. We're gonna get this through. We're gonna get through this together. Let me know how you are. Let me know how things are going. And that's pretty much how my mom took it. My mom is the emotional side of everything. She makes sure that I'm okay. And during that time, my mom was the person that told me everything's gonna be okay. And as a son to a mother, I had no choice but to believe my mother. That's my mom. So she was so in that point, that time, I trusted her and I believed her. And I sit here today. My father, he, as a father to son, it was hard, because I guess no father growing up as a Jehovah's Witness or growing up as a tough dad wanted their sons to be gay. And he got a son that was gay, and it was tough. But in that time, I knew that he had put aside his pride and his ego and made sure as a father that I was his son at the end of the day, and made sure that if he needed to come out there, he was going to come out there and come take care of me. And sure enough, he did. He came out. He made sure that I had every possible good thing I needed to be healthy at the end of the day. It's hard. I'm not going to lie. It's very hard. I say to myself a little bit more, because a lot of people my age, they could be 20, 21, between 20 and 25, and a lot are still uneducated. They don't want to know. They don't care for it. They just see, oh, well, he's cute, but he has HIV, so I'm not going to fuck with him no more. And there are people who laughed in my face, and a year later, they're coming to me, how do you deal with having HIV? It's going to be hard. Very hard. And I don't mean just you're playing a video game on hard and you keep dying, but you get multiple lives. It's reality. But you're a fighter. You get to the end all the time. You beat the game, and I might not be 100%, but you made it. And you're gonna have moments where you're gonna have nights where you're gonna cry, and it's okay to cry. But you've got a lot of people out there that love you. So don't give up.
Awesome. So 1, 2, 3.
The Gran Varones project has been a profoundly empowering and healing experience. I was on a quest searching for something greater than myself, greater than my experience, something that can serve as a reminder for every gay Latino man, so that they would know what I have only come to realize. Our lives matter, period. We have community because we are community. We do not need to frequent neighborhoods, attend rallies, identify as queer, or walk balls to matter. Our mere experience is enough. We as Latino gay men must be the narrator of our own stories and history. Our legacy is alive.